The oncologist's words still echoed in my head as I sat in the beachfront living room of my Hamptons home. 6 months, maybe 8 with aggressive treatment. The sunset painted the waves orange, a view I had paid $1.8 million for 3 years ago, a view I wouldn't see next summer. I'm Emily Parker, 35, and according to my sister Sarah, I'm Little Miss Perfect, the golden child who got everything while she got nothing. What she doesn't know is that everything I touched turned to gold, because I never stopped working, even when our parents' divorce tore our family apart 15 years ago. The house around me was my pride and joy. 4 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, private beach access, and a wraparound deck perfect for watching storms roll in. I'd bought it after selling my tech company, a celebration of 7 years of sleepless nights and missed holidays. Sarah hadn't spoken to me in 3 years, not since our father's funeral, where she'd accused me of being his favorite and stealing her inheritance. The truth was, Dad left everything to me because I was the only one who visited him in the hospital during his final months. Sarah was too busy holding on to her anger. My phone buzzed. It was my lawyer, Marcus. "Everything's ready for tomorrow's meeting, Emily. Are you sure about this?" "Yes," I replied, watching another wave crash against the shore. The house goes to Sarah if she accepts. If not, it goes to Claire. Claire. Our mother's name felt bitter even in thought. The woman who'd walked out on us when I was 20 and Sarah was 17, leaving nothing but a note and decades of therapy bills. Marcus sighed. "You know Sarah will refuse if you just offer it to her. She's too proud. That's why we're doing it this way. She has to make a choice, take the house, or watch it go to Claire." I'd arranged to meet Sarah at her favorite cafe in Manhattan. Neutral ground, public place, less chance of a scene. She'd agreed only because I'd mentioned having important documents about Dad's estate. The next morning, I dressed carefully. Simple black dress, pearl earrings, low heels. The wig was new, styled to hide the hair loss from my first round of chemo. Sarah didn't need to know about that. Not yet. The cafe was crowded, Sunday brunch in full swing. Sarah was already there, dressed in her usual waitress uniform. She'd been working at the same diner for 5 years, refusing any help or suggestions about career changes. "Make it quick," she said as I sat down. "My shift starts in an hour." I took in her appearance, tired eyes, bitten nails, the slight tremor in her hands that suggested too much coffee and too little sleep. My beautiful, stubborn sister who'd rather work herself to death than accept help. "I have something for you," I said, pulling out the envelope. "If this is another lecture about going back to college." "It's not." I slid the envelope across the table. "It's the deed to my beach house." She stared at it like it might bite. "What?" "The house in the Hamptons. I'm giving it to you." Her laugh was sharp, bitter. "Right. What's the catch?" "No catch. Just a choice." I pulled out a second envelope. "These are the transfer papers. You can sign them now, and the house is yours. Or what? Or it goes to Claire." The color drained from her face. "Mom, you're in contact with her?" "No. But I know where she is. And if you don't want the house, it goes to her. Your choice." Sarah's hands clenched into fists. "Why are you doing this? Is this some kind of sick game?" "I'm doing this because you're my sister, because despite everything, I love you, and because everyone deserves a second chance at security." "Security." She spat the word. "Like you gave Dad when he was sick, moving him to that fancy hospice where he died alone." He wasn't alone. I was there every day. Because you could afford to be. Some of us had to work for a living. The cafe had gone quiet, other patrons pretending not to listen. I kept my voice level. The house is worth $1.8 million. Sell it if you want. Use the money for college. Start a business, or keep working at the diner. It's your choice. But if you don't take it, Claire gets everything. Why would you give it to her? She abandoned us. Because sometimes the threat of losing something to someone you hate is the only way to make you see what's being offered. Sarah's hands shook as she opened the envelope and looked at the deed. This is real? Completely. No strings, no conditions. Just sign or don't sign. Why now? I thought about the oncologist's office, the scans showing how far the cancer had spread. Because some things can't wait. She studied my face, and for a moment I worried she'd see through the makeup, notice the weight loss hidden by my carefully chosen dress. You always were Dad's perfect daughter, she said finally, always knowing what's best for everyone. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being family. Family, she laughed again. Family doesn't disappear for 3 years, then show up with million-dollar gifts. No, family holds grudges for 15 years because Mom left and Dad loved differently than you wanted him to. That hit home. Sarah flinched. Sign or don't sign, I said, standing up. You have until Friday to decide. After that, Claire gets the offer. Emily, her voice cracked slightly. Why really? I looked down at my sister, seeing the 17-year-old girl who'd cried herself to sleep after Mom left, who'd pushed away everyone who tried to help. Because sometimes the biggest act of love is giving someone the choice to hate you or heal. I left her sitting there, staring at the deed to a piece of paradise she'd probably reject out of pride. Marcus was waiting in his car outside. How did it go? About as expected. Is everything else ready? He nodded. The trust is set up. If she takes the house, the maintenance funds kick in automatically. If she doesn't, Claire gets one last chance to be a mother. I looked back at the cafe window. Sarah was still there, the envelope open in front of her. Now she had to choose. Take the gift and maybe heal our relationship, or let our mother have one final victory. Either way, I'd be gone before next summer's waves rolled in. 3 days after the cafe meeting, I sat in my oncologist's office, reviewing the latest scan results. The cancer had spread faster than expected. 4 months, maybe 5. I'd have to accelerate my plans. Miss Parker, Dr. Bennett said gently, there are experimental treatments we could try. No, I'd made my peace with this. Quality over quantity. My phone had been silent since the cafe. No calls or messages from Sarah, though Marcus reported she'd been asking around town about the house's value and my recent activities. That evening, sitting on my deck watching the sunset, my phone finally buzzed. Is it true you're selling your company? Sarah's voice was accusatory. Henderson at the bank said you're liquidating everything. Hello to you too. Don't deflect. What's going on? First the house, now this? I watched a seagull dive into the waves. I'm simplifying my life. Bullshit. You never give up control of anything. Not since Mom left. She was right. I'd built my life around control, around never being vulnerable to loss again. The irony of cancer taking that control away wasn't lost on me. Have you made your decision about the house? I asked. Don't change the subject. Why are you really doing this? Friday's deadline stands, Sarah. Choose. I hung up before she could push further. The conversation left me exhausted, another reminder of how the chemo was wearing me down. The next morning, I had another surprise visitor. Claire, our mother, was waiting outside my office building. Emily. She looked older but still elegant, silver threading her dark hair. We need to talk. How did you? Sarah called me. She smiled sadly. First time in 15 years. Said you were acting strange, giving away assets. She's worried. Of course. Sarah would rather contact our estranged mother than believe I was being genuinely generous. Come up, I said, but make it quick. My office, soon to be sold, overlooked Central Park. Claire took it all in. The awards, the evidence of the success she'd abandoned. You've done well, she said. No thanks to you? She flinched but continued. Sarah thinks you're having some kind of breakdown. Says you're offering her your beach house. With a condition. If she doesn't take it, it goes to you. Why? I studied the woman who'd walked out on us. Because sometimes people need to face their past to move forward. You're sick, aren't you? Her voice was soft. I kept my face neutral. Why would you think that? A mother knows. She stepped closer. Emily, if you need. You lost the right to mother me 15 years ago. The silence stretched between us. Sarah won't take the house, Claire said finally. She's too much like me, too proud. Then you'll get it. I don't want it. That's not the point. I turned to face her fully. The point is making her choose between healing and hate. Claire nodded slowly. You always were the wise one, even as a child. Wisdom born of necessity. She moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For everything. Tell that to Sarah. She's the one who needs to hear it. After she left, I called Marcus. Claire knows. Sarah must have told her. Does this change the plan? No. If anything, it makes it more important. That night, I got another call from Sarah. I talked to Mom. I know. She visited me. She thinks you're sick. Are you? Is that the only reason you'd believe I'm capable of generosity? Silence. The deadline's tomorrow, Sarah. What's your decision? She hung up. Friday morning dawned stormy, the waves crashing against the beach with unusual force. I sat in Marcus's office waiting. The deadline was noon. At 11:55, Sarah burst in. You have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I looked up calmly. How did you find out? Dr. Bennett is an old high school friend. I asked her directly. That's a HIPAA violation. Screw HIPAA. She was crying now. Why didn't you tell me? Would it have changed anything? Would you have taken the house out of love instead of spite? You're dying and you're still trying to manipulate me. No, I stood slowly. I'm dying and trying to give you a future. And a choice. What choice? Take your blood money or watch Mom get it. The choice to let go of anger before it's too late. The clock struck 12. Time to decide, Sarah. The house, and maybe a chance to heal our family, or let your hatred win one last time. The clock's chimes faded into silence. Sarah stood there, tears streaming down her face, the choice hanging between us like a physical thing. How long? She whispered. Originally 6 months. Now 4. Maybe less. She sank into a chair, all the anger seeming to drain out of her. And you're giving everything away. Not everything. Just the things that matter. The house. It should stay in the family. With me or Mom. Yes. Marcus placed the 2 envelopes on his desk, one for Sarah, one for Claire. The next few moments would determine our path. You know what Mom said when I called her? Sarah's voice was quiet. She said she's been following our lives from afar. Knew about every promotion you got, every article written about your success. She even knew about my job at the diner. Stalking isn't the same as parenting. No, but Sarah picked up the envelope with her name. She also said she's been sending money to Dad's hospice, anonymous donations, every month since he died. That I hadn't known. The house, Sarah continued. If I take it, what happens to Mom? She goes back to watching from afar. Unless you choose to do something different. Sarah opened the envelope, stared at the papers inside. Did you know I drive by the beach house sometimes? Park across the street, watch the sunset? No. I tell myself I'm doing it to fuel my anger. Rich sister, perfect life, everything I don't have. But really, she traced the deed with her finger. Really, I think I just miss my family. It's not too late to change that. She looked up sharply. You're dying. It is too late. Not for everything. The storm outside had intensified, rain lashing against the office windows. Somewhere in the city, Claire was waiting for a phone call that would tell her whether she had a chance at redemption. Sarah stood suddenly. I want to see it. The house? Now, in the storm, I want to see what I'm choosing. Marcus started to object. The weather, the paperwork. But I cut him off. Let's go. The drive to the Hamptons was tense, windshield wipers barely keeping up with the rain. Sarah sat silently beside me, the unsigned papers in her lap. The beach house loomed through the storm, waves crashing against the private beach below. I used my cob at the gate, drove up the winding driveway. It's beautiful, Sarah whispered. Inside, the house was dark except for flashes of lightning. I moved to turn on the lights, but Sarah stopped me. Leave them off. I want to see it like this. We stood at the great room's windows, watching nature's fury. Each lightning flash illuminated the room, casting shadows of what could be. Remember when we were kids? Sarah said suddenly. During storms, Mom would make us hot chocolate and tell us stories about the thunder gods having bowling matches. Until Dad came home and said we needed to study instead of wasting time with fairy tales. You always took his side. I took the side of survival. When she left, someone had to be perfect. Sarah turned to me. And now, perfect Emily, giving away her perfect life. Now I'm just a sister trying to right some wrongs before I can't. Lightning flashed again, and in that moment, I saw tears on Sarah's face. I don't want you to die. I don't want to leave you alone. She pulled out her phone, dialed a number. Mom, can you come to the beach house? Now, my heart stopped. Sarah, if I'm choosing healing over hate, she said, I'm doing it completely. 2 hours later, headlights appeared in the driveway. Claire stood in the doorway, soaked from the brief dash from car to house, looking uncertain. Come in, Mom, Sarah said softly. The three of us sat in the dark great room, listening to the storm, 15 years of absence hanging between us. I'll take the house, Sarah finally said, but with conditions. Name them, I replied. Mom gets visiting rights. Real ones, not just stalking from afar. And she took a deep breath. And we spend whatever time you have left making new memories instead of holding on to old pain. Claire was crying silently. I felt tears on my own cheeks. Deal, I whispered. Sarah signed the papers by lightning flash. Then she did something that shocked me. She hugged our mother for the first time since she was 17. "I'm still angry," she told Claire, "but I'm tired of letting that anger win." The storm began to ease, stars peeking through breaks in the clouds. We made hot chocolate, just like when we were kids. Claire told her Thunder God stories. Sarah talked about her dreams of opening a cafe. I shared memories of Dad's final days, the peace he'd found before the end. As dawn broke over the ocean, we sat on the deck wrapped in blankets, a family broken by choice, perhaps healing by choice too. "Little Miss Perfect," Sarah said, nudging me gently. "Thank you for forcing us to choose. Sometimes the biggest gifts come disguised as impossible choices. Sometimes healing starts with facing the storm head-on." 3 months later, I sat on the deck of what was now Sarah's beach house, wrapped in a thick blanket, despite the summer heat. The cancer had progressed faster than expected, but I'd made peace with that. What mattered was what I was watching unfold before me. Sarah had transformed the ground floor into her dream cafe, Sunrise Sisters. The smell of fresh coffee and baked goods wafted up to the deck where I spent most of my days. Claire had surprised everyone by revealing her background in restaurant management, skills she'd gained during her years away. Now mother and daughter worked side by side, healing their relationship over shared recipes and morning rushes. "Your scones are getting cold," Sarah said, appearing with a fresh plate. She had moved into the master bedroom 2 months ago, insisting I needed round-the-clock care. Pride had given way to practicality. "Did Mom leave for her supplier meeting?" "Yeah. She's negotiating better prices for the organic ingredients." Sarah sat beside me, watching the waves. "You know, I always thought I'd feel like a charity case taking this place, but it doesn't feel like that anymore." "What does it feel like?" "Like home, like a second chance." The cafe below was filling with its morning crowd. Local regulars mixed with wealthy weekenders, all drawn by the spectacular ocean view and the story of two sisters who had found their way back to each other. "I have something to show you," Sarah said, pulling out some papers. "Mom and I have been working on this." They were adoption papers. Sarah was starting the process to adopt a teenage girl from the local foster system. "Her name's Maya," Sarah explained. "She reminds me of us. Angry at the world, but with so much potential." I thought, maybe this place could help her heal too. Tears welled in my eyes. The perfect choice for this house. "Well, you taught me something about choices and healing." Claire returned that afternoon with good news about the suppliers, and found us still on the deck. She had aged backward somehow in these 3 months, as if letting go of guilt had physically transformed her. "Emily?" She touched my shoulder gently. "Your doctor called. The hospice nurse will be here tomorrow." I nodded. We all knew what that meant. "I need you both to promise me something," I said. They sat on either side of me, these two women who had gone from enemies to family in the space of a season. "Maya," I continued, "promise me you'll give her what we lost and found again. Promise me you'll choose love over pride, healing over hurt." "We promise," they said in unison. The sunset that evening was spectacular, as if nature itself was showing off for us. The cafe customers had gone, leaving just family. Sarah making her special hot chocolate, Claire telling her Thunder God stories, and me, watching my final gift bear fruit. "Little Miss Perfect," Sarah said softly, using the old nickname with affection now, rather than bitterness. "You planned all this, didn't you? The house, the choice, bringing us back together. I just opened the door. You both chose to walk through it." A week later, They held a small ceremony on the beach. Maya, the soon-to-be adopted teenager, helped Sarah scatter my ashes into the waves I'd loved so much. Claire had arranged everything, using her organizational skills for family rather than escape this time. The beach house stands as my legacy now, not as a symbol of wealth or success, but as a place of healing and second chances. Sarah and Claire run the cafe together, their relationship stronger for having been broken and rebuilt. Maya is learning that family isn't just about blood or perfection, but about choices and love. And sometimes, on stormy nights, they say they can still hear me in the crash of the waves, reminding them that the greatest act of love is giving someone the choice to heal. Because in the end, that's what the house really was. Not a manipulation or a test, but a choice. A choice between holding on to pain or reaching for healing. A choice between the comfort of anger or the risk of love. They chose well,